This is Friday Night with Norcott, with me, Geoff Norcott, and I hope you're having a good Friday night. I don't know what you're doing. You're doing a few jobs, got the AirPods in, cleaning out the garage, that kind of thing. Well, we will keep you company. And every week on this show, at 8 p.m, we have what we call Man Friday, where we focus on men's issues. And I know some people might say, oh, isn't that every day of the year? But look, let's bear in mind that most men don't have the power of a Donald Trump or a Vladimir Putin. So we will have a regular in this show who's been on once before, the very first time that I did this show, the Man Whisperer, a.k.a. Kenny Mammarella-D'Cruz.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, welcome back to the show. Just in a nutshell, just remind us, I call you sort of like the Yoda of blokes. Is that a fair description? You run men's groups.
Fair enough. I'm an agony uncle now.
An agony uncle, and you run these online groups and in-person groups, just getting men together, getting them talking.
Every day online since lockdown.
Every day. So the online thing is still strong, is it?
Yeah. We had over a dozen people today. And when there are a lot of people, we go into breakout rooms. And there's a lot of laughter, there's tears, there's stuff up, there's stuff going down, and it needs to be spoken out.
Well, what we're going to talk about today, and I want people to stay with this because it's not going to be depressing. If it does get a bit serious, I'll probably say something immature to break the tension anyway. But we spoke in the week about men being lost and lonely.
Yeah.
What do we mean by that?
Well, there are enough men going around thinking, okay, I've got everything crossed on my to-have list, but there's no room for me in my life. Why am I doing this? Now I've got everything. Why am I not happy? Why am I not fulfilled? What's the point? And I think lost is also where do I belong? What's my purpose? What am I contributing? What matters to me even comes into it. And, there's the conveyor belt of school and education and work, and people are provided along the way, and then people get older and they have kids and they move away. It's like, I haven't got any friends. I'm lost with who I am and what am I doing? And no one gets me. No one's listening to me. People second guess. People tell me what I should do. People tell me what I have done wrong. And for most men, most of the time, as soon as a woman is angry or upset or withdraws, then the man turns into a scared little boy. And it's like, oh my God, how do I fix this? I'm in trouble.
Okay, so it sounds like you're talking about middle age, perhaps more than any. Not exclusively, but it does sound like that.
It starts really early these days. I mean, boys and men these days, if anything's up, straight online to find the answer from teens, from 20s, from really, really young. There's apparently a statistic that when boys go on TikTok, 14-year-old boys, within 10 minutes, they've got Andrew Tate in front of them. So people go online to find answers, where in the old days, they'd ask someone, they'd ask another boy.
Then you go down the pub and get absolutely smashed. That's what you're telling me, Kenny. We should go back to that. Right? That's what I'm hearing. No? Okay, fair enough. One of the things that we do try out, and I say this, is about blokes checking in with each other, right? Yeah. It is important. I do believe in it, but I also believe that it's largely contingent upon what that man is willing to tell you when you ask him, right? Because if you sort of like go, how's things with you? How are things at home? Good, mate, you? I mean, that is the standard answer. Good, mate, you? Yeah. It's always that. So how can men, if you are evolved enough to be checking in on your mates, how can you get your mates to go beyond that surface level response?
By going beyond the surface level, not just question, it's like, this is what's going on with me. And if I check in with some depth, then there's an invitation to meet me in depth.
So you lead the way. You tell them your issues first.
To an extent. I mean, in the groups every day, there are 3 very basic questions. Your name, how you feel right now, and anything that's up. And the name is just to take your place. So it's like, I'll announce myself. This place now belongs to me.
Why don't you do it with me now? Do it with me now. Go
okay,
on.
So what's your name?
Geoff.
Well, 3 questions. How do you feel right now?
I feel okay. I think I feel okay.
You think
it's collapsing straight away, isn't it? I feel okay. Okay is a loaded word, isn't it?
Well, it's not quite a feeling, and it's like, and usually
I'm not exhausted. I'm not sad, and that for me is a win.
If you take a breath and you really get here, you're right here and right now, what's the feeling?
What's the feeling? Well, I guess I'm presenting a radio show. The first hour of it, I felt like it went Well, I enjoyed it, but there's responsibility. That's the thing, is as much fun as this is, there's still, I mean, I was going to say you've got to not something it up, i.e. a swear word, but that's another thing. There's a lot of things in my brain that I can't do right now. And it's interesting, even you asking me that question is I feel okay turns into a whole bunch of other stuff.
And between the lines, what I'm hearing is a certain amount of pressure, need to get the show right, need to not swear, and need to have a good time so everyone else has a good time, because people are going to follow your lead. Whatever your tone, whatever your vibe, this is what's going to be presented in the show. This is where people are going to meet you. And feelings can be a big deal, because people might talk about what they've thought or how they felt, or it's like, what answer do they want? So I've done it right. And even right now can be a big deal, because they might want to talk about the past, they might want to talk about the future. But to be here and now and to feel feelings here and now itself can be a big deal. And then what's up? Well, it could be grief, fear, and from a very, very young age, it could be, I'm losing my hair. And I don't know what to do about it. Well, why would you say
that, Kenny?
And no one's going to find me attractive. Yeah. And I don't know how to fix. I'm aging.
Oh my God, you're a mind reader, man. Yeah, the old hair has gone back. I mean, that is definitely something at the age of 48, is that my eyesight at the moment, like it's been getting steadily worse, but then it's got worse again. I thought it would be a steady decline, but the last 6 months even, I can't really wear glasses just to walk around corridors. I look confused all the time. So that in itself, it's aging, isn't it? It's an aging feeling. And one of the things I was going to ask you is, when I do this show, right, I finish, and it always feels great. I do enjoy doing this show, but there's a pub over the road here, and I always, when I walk past it, I want to just go in and get really drunk. And I do think women do that too, but that is a bloke thing predominantly. What is that? Why do I want to take a thing going well and just pour something else on top of it?
Is it the high that needs to either be continued or get grounded somehow? Because having a drink or three could be a way of getting grounded. Or a big thing with blokes is it's on. Doing, fixing, meeting deadlines, staying out of trouble, whether it's work or kids or partner or whatever it is. Where's the off switch? And these days, the off switch can so easily be drink, drugs, porn, doom scrolling, exercise, over-exercise, anything out of balance.
Over-exercise, that's interesting. Yeah. So I see that with a lot of people, particularly the ones that have quit, drinking, stimulants, that kind of thing. But then the exercise becomes so important to them. Yeah. Are you seeing that in your groups where they can't do without it?
So bad. And with a lot of blokes, it's like, I've got no friends. I'm scared of blokes. I'm scared of people. I'm not good enough. And too many men come into the groups with, what's wrong with me and how do I do me right? Meanwhile, they find out who they are and who they no longer need to be, rather than what's wrong with me. It's like, well, who are you? And rather than doing yourself right, it's like, how do you show up rather than showing off, so people can actually meet who you are with who they are?
See, this is why I call you the bloke Yoda. You just come out with these things. How do you show up without showing off? Yeah. Amazing. I mean, you talk about the whole, and men fill it with the whole. I understand some of that stuff. I shouldn't be too, but, porn, drink, all that kind of stuff. Gambling's the one I've never understood. I've never felt the compulsion to gamble. What is the buzz? Why do people do it? Why do people like it?
Do you know, there's a weird thing with the secret life of gambling. And the dopamine fixes. And it's similar with the secret life of, online forums or emotional, betrayal of a partner. It's the secret life away from the daily life. The daily life can be doing where the secret
It's like an act of rebellion.
Exactly.
I'm supposed to be responsible and I'm supposed to be putting into the household, but I'm literally going to take this money and burn it.
Or, this belongs to me. This secret life belongs to me. No one else can tell me what to do. So it's like, this is mine. And it's the buzz, it's the fix, it's the excitement.
Now, you mentioned podcasts. Now, podcasts, it's like all things, in moderation can be good. I listen to podcasts all the time. The other day, I was about to trim my beard, and I thought, I better pick a podcast to listen to while I trim my beard. Is that an addiction? And also, I guess the problem, is that me going, well, I don't see my mates, but, I check in with Roy Keane and Micah Richards every day, and I check in with Richard Osman and Marina Hyde. These are my kind of new friends that live in my ear.
Exactly. And this is the whole thing, is if blokes don't have friends, especially at the drop of a hat, podcasts of friends, who do I want to hang out with? What kind of company do I need to keep? So very often, lonely blokes can be walking around the streets or the park or the forest or whatever, listening to podcasts, and it's like hanging out.
We talk a lot about the demands of motherhood. They're well enshrined. If you look at influencers, you look at female comics talking about motherhood, we know the demands of that, and they're completely legitimate, obviously. But we don't talk so much about what the demands of fatherhood are. And now I know I might now get people, ladies texting in going, oh, really? Well, I'll tell you what the demands are. Minimal. But whatever they are and however they match up to the demands of motherhood, right? We're not necessarily directly equating them. What are the biggest ones? What are the most draining ones for men?
Men these days love their children and want to be with their kids. 1 or 2 generations ago, it wasn't a man's place. Men are stretched between, I need to be at work and bring the bread home. I need to be at home for bedtime stories, bath time, etc. How do I do the both? How do I keep both of them happy? I don't want to miss out on my kids growing up. They're not going to be so young. They're not going to be so tactile and loving forever.
This is the thing, Kenny, is that tomorrow as an example, I finish late tonight, getting at midnight, right? And then tomorrow I've got a tour show in Fareham. So my son's playing football tomorrow. I want to go and see him, but there's also that part you go, well, if I do that and then I don't have enough energy and then my tour gig goes later, less money, is that being a good dad?
Yeah,
it's complicated, mate.
It's a tough one. And what does your kid need to know?
Well, I suppose always just that you love them, really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that can be said and shown in so many ways. But just to know that he's loved.
Well, if he might still be up listening to this, so I could tell him right now, Seb, if you're listening to this, I love you. There you go.
How did that feel?
It felt great. It always feels great. I tell him all the time, mate.
What a lucky boy.
I might. What a lucky dad. I mean, I might give it all that, seem like a bit of a geezer bloke. I am the most huggy dad ever.
That is so excellent.
And I'm lucky that he still indulges me, but at some point he's going to go, come on, man, it's a bit needy.
And do you know what? Blokes grieve when that happens. It's like, my boy doesn't want to wrestle with me. My boy doesn't want my attention. My boy doesn't want to play with. I've been rejected by my boy. Now I need to find some friends.
Yes. Well, listen, you've got to keep up with your mates. I've got my mate here with me right now, the man whisperer, Kenny Mammarella-D'Cruz. I know this is a Friday night Norcott. I sound like I've been drinking there. I haven't been drinking, but maybe that was a legacy of the discussion with Kenny. But it is Friday night with Norcott, with Geoff Norcott on Times Radio. I've still got Kenny Mammarella-D'Cruz, a.k.a. the Man Whisperer, with me. But this week's Man of the Week is Aidan Phelan, who shot to fame as none other than David Beckham's hairdresser. But he has since redirected his creative talents to become an artist. Welcome to the show, Aidan.
Thank you, sir. Pleasure to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too. We'll get it out of the way first.
Yes.
Is he nice, David Beckham?
Wonderful.
Well, that was a very pregnant pause there, but it's good to hear that he's nice.
He's a good soul, and a lot of A-list clients are normally the nicest. It's always the kind of, shall I say, less successful ones that have the ego.
It's the up and come rather than the up and coming.
Most definitely. The higher the profile, the more they go out of their way to make you feel good. When they're down climbing the ladder, they want that ego. They want
That's really interesting.
So it's an interesting fact that the higher the celebrity, the higher the accolade, are normally the nicest.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, there's probably one thing. I was previewing this show on Breakfast with Callum and Chloe on a Friday, which is an excellent show. But I was talking about my view that men should only have 3 haircuts in their entire life. I would have thought that we'd be diametrically opposed on that, perhaps.
I've always had the same approach, funny enough, with men's hair. I think men's hair should be less is more. I think men should be manly. So the old Steve McQueen, that grown-out crop, is a winner. It's Daniel Craig, Steve McQueen, that grown-out crop. The skinhead and a man, you wear a suit, you can look smart. Wear a pair of jeans, you can look cool. And I think that whole grown-out surf look is my 3 looks, that unsheveled, not messed with. So I'm of the same sort of opinion as you.
That's
less is more, and keep it to 3 things. As you get older, it tends to get shorter. Less is more.
There you go. We're
Always.
getting great advice for blokes here. Kenny in the first 15
Love
minutes.
Kenny, love
now
Kenny.
from Aidan. We'll get back to Kenny in a sec. I mean, I just wanted to, because I think this will relate to some of Kenny's work. You've also spoken about mental health, and you said that the pandemic had a particular effect. Could you describe that to us?
Well, I had the pleasure of speaking to Kenny before coming on, and I got a free session. Thank you very much. Invoice.
I literally just got one on air.
I have had 35 years of suicidal thoughts, and it been in and out of hospitals, had all sorts of doctors, and I'm a broken record. But it took me a lot of years to be able to admit that. But during the pandemic, I knew how bad I was at that stage, and I was constantly thinking about how I could end it.
What was it in particular about pandemic? Was it not being able to work? Was it not seeing people?
So when the news hit me, because I was getting calls from people that I know in the industry and politics and stuff saying, this is getting bad. And I sort of planned. So I come up with a bright idea to open up pop-up shops for the NHS where I could do free haircuts for people that are working 12, 14 hours a day to save our lives. And I end up kind of working for the NHS. So I was working 7 days a week.
Oh, right. So the opposite.
I got different celebrities to sponsor the different pop-up bars in the different cities. I raised £2.6 million in product donations to give them care packages. So I did it for selfish reasons, but it ended up being a cool thing to do because it helped them out and it kept me from being locked up, because I could have quite easily have definitely have gone the other way.
Kenny, with your groups, what did that do to men in particular during the pandemic? Did you see it? I mean, that was where the online group started.
Yeah, that's where it started every day. I went into isolation a few days before, and I'm an ex-refugee, so I kept looking out of my window expecting to see the military, and I kept listening to... I kept listening for gunfire again, because I realised that I flashed back to my childhood, where there was curfew and we were on the death list. Then we went on lockdown a few days later, and I realised that I'd flashed back. And if I flash back, other people are going to flash back, and home's not going to be a safe place for everyone. And I thought people need to speak things out, because otherwise, typical men think and fix. But speaking things out, and it's in the world, and it no longer has a hold. And I'm sure you've done this by speaking things out now, because you said in the early days you didn't speak so much.
Well, I come from Irish heritage. I was born in 1972, and without coming across the typical slow, but it's as a young Irish boy, I've had mental health issues since I was 13, and it was only till I got sectioned, the last time I got sectioned, where it came out, because I was working on a high-profile show in America. And I had to tell the truth. I had to tell my endorsement companies, my scissor companies, electrical companies, because when you sign contracts with these companies, the first thing they say, do you struggle with any mental... Because they're protecting... I was working for Unilever and L'Oreal. So I lost all my contracts overnight, but it was freedom of saying, I'm damaged. And the reason I'd go to parties and say, I'm going home early. I've got a little girl back at mine. I'm going to have a fun night. I wasn't. It was an excuse with the anxiety and depression to get home and cry myself to sleep every night. So I was lying. I should have a row of Oscars, because when I came out as having serious... I was diagnosed with manic depressive with schizophrenic tendencies. And when I told people, they went, impossible, because I'm quite a jovial and polite and happy person. But I should have a row of Oscars, because I lied my teeth for 35 years. So it was just nice to go, I'm broken. I don't care about endorsements anymore. I've made a few quid. If you're going to hire me, you might have to put up with some demons.
Anxiety is an interesting one, because I've suffered with the depression and the anxiety over the years. I'm a stand-up comic. It's the union rules. If we don't do it...
the most unhappiest people are comedians.
We get blackballed if we don't get depressed at least once a year. And the anxiety was always the one that's hardest to cope with. Feeling sad... I could deal with that, but the anxiety, because the thing is, you always feel like as a bloke, if I lose it, I'll lose my dignity. I mean, a mate of mine, Dougie Dunlop, a fantastic Scottish comic, he always said to me, like, if a girl's out with her mates and she feels like she's a bit faint and she needs to sit down, her friends will go, of course, sit down. You're out with a group of blokes, you go, I feel a bit faint, I need to sit down. They go, well, there better be something wrong with you. So talk to me about what coping mechanisms did you have when you felt particularly anxious?
Coming here tonight, sweats, panic attacks. Spoke to you in the green room. Gone.
So cool to hang out, isn't it? Just to speak things out.
I can't read or write properly either, so I've been taking these online courses to learn how to read and write properly, and I have been speaking to other people privately online, and I suppose talking's a good thing. When people say it's just good to talk, it's not. It's good to talk to the right people.
It's good to be heard.
So be careful who you choose to speak to and open up to, but I always find the best form of medicine, I'm always asking questions. I'm doing all the things to try and get better. No drugs in my life. Alcohol, minimal. Good sleep. Go church in Soho, my local church in Soho every Sunday. Do a little 35 minutes in there. It's good for the soul if you're that way inclined. And I just try these days to do the right thing more than the wrong thing. And if you can my dad used to say, if you can put your head on your pillow every night, son, and you've done something half decent that day, it'll stand you in good stead. So that's my recipe is talking to good folk, good souls. I have a lot of comedian friends, and they're normally
broken, empty,
broken,
dead inside
records. And the profile of these people, I'm like, they're like, oh man,
no, because comedy. I always said, like, the first time I did a gig and it went well, I remember coming on stage going, I've put out the fires in my mind. What an amazing thing. And I went to bed thinking, I've done it. I found a way to put out the fires. And the next day I got, I was like, oh, right, they're burning again. And I'll have to do that regularly. Listen, I'm really loving the mental health chat here with Aidan Phelan and the man whisperer, Kenny Mammarella-D'Cruz. But Aidan, you're a fantastic artist as well.
Thank you,
you've got your 30-piece collection, Reflections of a Broken Mirror, at the Grove Gallery. At what point did you decide that was what you wanted to do, to express yourself?
Great story. I'll keep it short and sweet. We're on radio. I'm cycling from New York to LA in a bicycle 2 years ago for this new show I'm doing. And I have a horrific crash. Move forward a week later. I'm cycling through Mojave Desert in 50-degree heat. The tyres and the bike are melting, literally. I sit on the side of the road. This Australian comes towards me. He's like a silhouette. And I didn't know he was Australian at the time. He's on a bike, a man on a bike, in a pair of shorts. And he stops. You all right, son? In his accent. I'm like, I'm kind of doing this gig, this film crew there. And he's like, I'm like, what do you do for a living anyway? He went, this is what I do. I'm free. Live every day like it's your last, brother. And cycled off. I was like, I quit hairdressing that day. Everyone said, you are mad. You've built up this huge portfolio of business. I dropped everything that day. And I thought, I'm going to go back to my previous love, which was art. And the whole 30-piece collection is based around, I've lived in central London, Soho and St. Martin's Lane for 25 years. And I thought, it's all based around society, politics, free speech. I've always been one for free speech, but because of the brands I connected myself to, I always had to keep this shop.
You got to align with their values. I think that is always
align with their values. Keep your opinions, politics, and stuff to one side. But my art, considering I'm a new artist, the show last night pretty much sold out, which is brilliant.
Good on you.
Which is a rarity. And I have a great person behind me, James Ryan from Grove Gallery, who gave a 52-year-old man a second chance at a new career. And I've built up a good rapport with people in the industry that have supported me. So the art is the subject matters are quite knife crime, politics, and, London and Westminster and, all the negative connotations. But I've done them with very beautiful pastel colours, and I've used a lot of youthful characters to make the images pop, to take away the edginess of the topic, but just stop oil. There's a little image of a boy putting oil in his bike, and there's a protester spraying him with paint, and I'm like, be careful what I say already. But I do have an opinion, and
I've seen the art, and
I think wicked. Sorry, man.
It's quality. It's written through it. And listen, you got. We'd have to get you back because I feel like there's so much we could really discuss here. I was speaking to Aidan Phelan, as a former celebrity hairstylist, now artist, whose Reflections of a Broken Mirror is at the Grove Gallery. And with us has been the man whisperer, Kenny Mammarella-D'Cruz. Just remind people where they can find your men's groups, Kenny.
Mensgroups.co.uk.
Okay,
I'm on it.
There you go.
Folks, if you can hear me, this guy is the governor. I've spent tens of thousands on doctors.
The Yoda of blokes.
He is the governor.
Continuing the Star Wars themes.